Hi friends, it's Jung here for Hip Kit Club. Today I'm sharing a sketch-inspired layout for Sketch Friday, and I'm using the August 2019 Hip Kits. This is the sketch that we're playing with this week, and you can get all the information and how you can play along on the Hip Kit Club group Facebook page, and I'll be sure to leave a link below. I was also challenged to fussy cut and use punches, so I was showing you there that I fussy cut the flowers from Paige Evans paper number 15. I was also inspired by this page, number 14, because of all the squares, and if you noticed in the sketch, there was a whole bunch of little squares in the background. So I decided to put a little twist on the sketch and use circles for my background instead of squares, and so I'm just going to punch out some circles from the squares that I thought went well with my back-to-school layout and the colors. Okay, here are all the circles that I punched, and I'm going to be using some white cardstock for my background, and I decided I wanted to add a little bit of subtle texture. So I'm using this Vicky Bouton stencil and some white texture paste. I added a little bit to the top right corner, and I'm going to add some to the bottom left corner as well. I'm just going to use my palette knife in a very thin layer of the texture paste, and I'm just going about halfway up the stencil, and I did the same for the top one as well. I just went about halfway down. The reason I'm only going halfway is the middle part of my layout is going to be covered by all the circles, and so I don't feel the need to go all the way up if it's going to be covered up anyways. I wanted to add a little color to my background with some splatters, and I chose this Cracked Pistachio Distress Oxide ink, which I believe we got in a past color kit. And I chose it because it matched the color of my daughter's dress in the photo, and it also matches some of the papers in the Paige Evans Truly Grateful collection. So my circle punch is a kind of old, and on one spot it doesn't punch very cleanly. It kind of leaves the paper a little rough, and that was bothering me a little bit, so I decided to go ahead and roughen the edges of all the circles, and that way it looks like it's on purpose. I went ahead and laid out some of the circles, and I'm not sure about the placement of them yet. I'm going to kind of fuss with them and just kind of lay them out like the sketch. I'm going to take a white gel pen and kind of draw a wonky circle inside a few of these circles. I did this on my last layout with the stars, and I really like this sketchiness it adds to the layout, but it's still subtle because I used a white gel pen instead of a black pen. So I already have my T-square ruler laid out. I was just about to attach these circles to my layout with a little bit of roller dot adhesive. And I'm just going to use a little bit because I know I'm going to machine stitch them to my background. Okay, so here is all my stitching done. I did a horizontal stitch on all the circles, and I did a vertical stitch on a couple of the circles as well. And now I'm just going to fluff them up a little bit to add a little bit of dimension. Next, I'm going to go ahead and mat my photos on some pattern paper by Paige Evans. I'm going to use this blue one. I've already used some of it to fussy cut some butterflies on the other side. And you can see that to the left of the screen. And I want a kind of messy edge just like my circles, and so I'm going to use my T-square ruler to rip one side of it. And I'm going to do the same for this other Paige Evans paper, and it has all the pink chevron stripes on it. So I've already trimmed them down, and I'm trying to decide the placement of my photos, and if you remember, the sketch has two photos as well, and it worked out perfectly because traditionally I like to take first week of school photos for my girls. I like to kind of remember their style, and this year we started on a Thursday, so I've only got two photos for the first week of school, and it matched the sketch perfectly. I'm just going to use some thin foam squares to add my photos to the page. You guys have heard me talk about these thin foam squares plenty of times. Even though I love dimension and pop dots on my page, I don't like too much because I like to cram my albums as full as possible. Now that my photos are on, I'm going to think about a title, and in the sketch, the title is right about where I placed that hello, and that's from the Paige Evans ephemera. One thing that I'm kind of worried about is how busy these circles make the background, so I'm worried about the title not standing out. Here I'm getting sidetracked for a second and messing with the sun. That's something that I fussy cut from the back of the 2x2 square pattern paper from Paige Evans as well. So here is a way that I decided might help the title stand off the background. I decided I might make a banner from cardstock, and I really like the way this orange color popped. And this is included in the August cardstock kit. So the alpha that I'm using, the larger ones is from Paige Evans, and the smaller ones is from the new Pinkfresh Studio Just a Little Lovely collection. And I'm spelling out 4th grade. I always love the Pinkfresh Studio Tiny Puffy Alpha, but I am so happy that the Paige Evans thickers included some numbers as well. Once I get the spacing of the letters, I'm going to trim down the cardstock and then cut a little fishtail on either side. And then I'm going to add some machine stitching around the border. Next, I'm going to add some score lines to each side to make it look like a banner. And I'm going to need 2 score lines on each side. And right now I'm kind of eyeballing it just to leave enough room to spell 4th grade. So my next score lines are about 1/4 of an inch to the left of the first score line, and then I'm going to fold it to look like a banner. And eventually I changed this banner because I feel like the title overlaps too much of the photo and the circles, and so I make a much smaller banner, but I kept this in so you can see how I did it. And here is my smaller title. It says grade 4, and I ended up using the tiny Pinkfresh Studio Alpha only. I'm going to use some foam dots to pop this onto my layout, and I like the size of this banner much better. It still makes a presence because of the orange cardstock, but it doesn't take away too much from the photos or the circles in the background. Okay, now I'm going to start thinking about embellishing the layout, and I'm going to use a lot of the fussy cut pieces. I'm going to use the fussy cut flowers and some of the butterflies that I cut from Paige Evans papers. I end up moving the flowers and the butterflies around for quite a while. I just couldn't make up my mind, and so I'm definitely going to edit some of this out. I take a quick look through the Paige Evans ephemera, and I remember that I had really wanted to use these trees on a layout, and I figured back to school layout was fall themed enough to use them, even though it's still super hot in Texas. I love the way they look in the end. So now that I know where I want everything to go, I'm going to start adhering things down. I'm going to use a combination of foam tape, double-sided tape, and liquid glue to create dimension. Alright, this is how it's starting to look now that all my flowers and the trees are glued on. I'm just going to add a few more items to finish off this layout. I added that puffy sticker, yes, which was from Pinkfresh Studio. I added a little bit more liquid glue to the banner because the ends kept wanting to pop up, so I'm just going to hold that in place with my reverse tweezers. And then I added that little pencil chipboard, which is Pinkfresh Studio as well, and I added the school year. And then this is a tradition that I also do every year. I save some of their clothing tags and I put them on the first week of school layouts. Again, like I said, I wanted to remember like their style, their fashion, their sizes sometimes. And you might have seen this on one of my recent layouts for my older daughter as well. I tore off the sticker back for the pencil and added my own liquid glue just for peace of mind. I'm going to add a Pink Fresh Studio Puffy Alpha initial for my daughter, and then this layout is done. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video. Don't forget to subscribe to the Hip Kit Club YouTube channel. Check out the sketch on the Hip Kit Club group Facebook page. I'll leave links for that as well as the kits in the info bar below. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Bye.